Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here. Well, isn't that weird? As I was making my retrospect trade video on, as it happened 28 years ago on January 2nd, that I said the Calgary Flames made the worst trade in franchise history when we traded away Dougie Gilmour to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Well, as that video was being edited and uploaded and all that stuff, the Calgary Flames actually made a trade currently. I don't think it'll be on the same magnitude, but there was actually a lot of activity that eventually spawned the trade that actually happened with the Calgary Flames, as it was been long speculated that Calgary was looking at shopping around Michael Frolik, and he was apparently almost traded last year at the deadline, where Calgary would have sent out Michael Frolik in a first to the Minnesota Wild for Jason Zucker, but that did not happen. But what actually happened, and might raise speculation what the Calgary Flames could be doing here in the next 6-7 weeks before the NHL trade deadline, is they actually traded Michael Frolik to the Buffalo Sabres. In exchange, the Calgary Flames receive 2020, this upcoming draft, 4th round draft pick. And actually that draft pick has been played around a lot too. So I'm going to say the Michael Frolik, I still say it was a solid signing when we signed him in free agent frenzy back in 2015, and it was a 5-year deal that his cap hit was $4.5 million per season. So he was in the final year of his contract here, and for much of the time with the Flames, he was a top 6 forward, and he had chemistry in that 3M line with Michael Backlund and Matthew Tkachuk when he, after the Flames drafted him in 2016 there, and he kind of had that 3M line pretty much all the way from Glenn Gulletson days in 2017, and then up to this past season and the season before. It seemed like Michael Frolik, his play has gone down a bit, but you can still count on him to, if he's utilized fully, and I think he will in Buffalo, that he's good to give you at least 10 goals and 30 points here. But I felt he started falling a little out of favor then with Bill Peters, and then that whole situation happened, and then with Jeff Ward now taking over and mixing up the lines here much of the season, especially this season. Michael Frolik has been basically either the odd man out or just barely on the 4th line or second penalty kill there, and Calgary was definitely in a salary crunch, cap crunch here, and this trade actually gives them some flexibility in cap space here because no salary was retained in this trade here, and for the case of Buffalo, as they were looking for to get some help on the forwards there, as they had a surplus defenseman here, and as I said, as the holiday trade freeze is over here, there was actually 3 trades that happened, and Calgary kind of came at the end here with the Michael Frolik trade, because to summarize yesterday, first it was there were 3 trades that happened and involved Buffalo, Ottawa, and Calgary with Montreal. The first trade that happened yesterday, because I think this all intertwined with each other, is that the Montreal Canadiens, they traded defenseman Mike Riley to the Ottawa Senators. In exchange, Montreal got Matthew Starts and a 2021 5th round pick there. So that was the first trade they made. And then when Buffalo comes to play here, where they had surplus of defensemen and they were looking for getting an extra forward here, well, the Buffalo Sabres, they traded defenseman Marco Scandella. He's going to the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for that 2020 4th round draft pick. And then Buffalo flipped that 2020 4th round draft pick that is coming to the Calgary Flames in exchange for Michael Frolik. And in terms of cap hits for Marco Scandella and Michael Frolik, for Buffalo's case, it's a pretty similar cap hit. And you got to remember now that we're halfway through the season here, it's prorated. So Calgary will definitely save a couple $1 million in cap space here. And according to Cap Friendly, as of this recording here, right now the projected cap space is Calgary is just slightly under $2 million. and then it would increase at the deadline, where Calgary will have $4.79 million to play with on the deadline there. And that definitely raises some speculation now that the Pacific Division is wide open. That Vegas is finally starting to look like they're playing up to what they expect it to be. Calgary's been up and down, and we struggled there in the first quarter there, but we played a little better, in the second quarter here, especially after what has happened. But I still think Calgary is still not where we expected to be after last season. And then Vancouver has been playing well, and they're in the hunt. Same with Arizona, and Edmonton's been up and down here. The three California teams are pretty much all but done, and then you got to worry about the Central Division there too. So, this definitely raises speculation on that we finally traded away an asset that we were looking to shop around here, and his contract was expiring, and Michael Frolik, he definitely didn't say anything about not liking his role or diminished time. I think he was a good sport and was accepting, and I think he was embracing or finding a way to fit in, and was able to be on the fourth line, because that's where he's been used this season, and on the second penalty killing you. And we'll miss some of that, his leadership ability, but this season I think he only has 5 goals, 5 goals, 5 assists, and 10 points, and I think it was 38 games there. He played him most of the games, and definitely, if you prorate it, that can at least get you 10 goals. But he was definitely becoming an expensive player on the fourth line, making over $4 million a year. And does this now give us more room? Not for salary cap, but with the guys like, who knows about Austin Czarnik? He was on the long-term injury reserve, and he was slowly coming back, but now he's in the minors trying to get reconditioned there. But and same with Zach Ronaldo. He's been up with the team for over a month here, and same with Tobias Reeder. So this definitely opens up space, and same with Dylan Dubé, because he's definitely been in and out of the lineup a lot more. He's been up here in Calgary, away from Stockton, but it seems like he either plays every second game, especially under Jeff Ward here. So we opened that up, but and then the other thing too that I look at that is that the 4th round pick that Calgary received. Well, Calgary gives up their own 4th round pick in this year's draft, because remember last year at the deadline we basically rented Oscar Fantenberg, and we traded a 4th round pick in this year's draft to the Los Angeles Kings for Oscar Fantenberg, and we'll get a 4th round pick back. I think likely a 3rd round pick's going to be coming our way too from the Edmonton Oilers. Just 2 more goals, James Neal, please. That's all we need. I'm safe to say that Milan Lucic's not going to be 10 within you, so just 2 more goals, James, and we'll take that 3rd round pick. Hopefully that's not too much to ask. But that 4th round draft pick actually has changed hands a few times, and who knows, at draft time, because this pick that we get from Buffalo originally was from San Jose, because Montreal got that 4th round pick last year at the draft when they traded the 2019 4th round pick and Igor Sparanov, which was the 108th pick that the San Jose Sharks used. And then that 4th round pick was for going to Buffalo when they got Marco Scandella, and then they flipped it for Michael Frolik. So we'll see where eventually this 4th round pick goes. And one of the things that I have done the last couple of years is recap the drafts, and I look at all the picks that the Flames used, and I also be different, and I talk about the picks that were in play that either we traded away or what was used to complete a trade. And then especially last year was a perfect example that I looked at all Calgary, where I looked at the Flames and Hitman, who got drafted, any other junior players in there. And speaking of Hitman, I also recap Calgary Hitman, and in the next episode of my Calgary Hitman 6, the Hitman also made a trade, so you can watch that to talk about when I talk about that trade there. So basically we traded Michael Frolik, a player who I thought likely wasn't going to return. No salary was retained, so we definitely get a lot more cap relief because we were definitely at a crunch there and didn't carry a full roster to be under the cap. And we get a 4th round pick, which is something, and time will tell what this 4th round pick is used, either if we draft that player or flip it for another asset down the road here. But with how competitive the Pacific Division is, you got to say Calgary is definitely saying we're open for business. And we have a couple other UFAs like Hamnick and Brody, and I doubt Talbot's in play, but he's an unrestricted free agent as well. And I'm still going to say Mark Jankowski should also be on the block too. But so yeah, what do you think about all the activity yesterday? I mean, I think it was a pretty good trade for trading for an expiring asset, where we got something in return, and we were giving up our own 4th round pick from the Oscar Fantenberg trade, and now at least we have a 4th round pick coming, and very likely a 3rd round pick coming if James Neal scores 2 more goals here. So what's your take on it? And I mean, that's all my take, is that it was definitely a crazy day now that the holidays are over. And I was talking about a trade that I felt was the worst in Flames history when we traded Doug Gilmour to the Toronto Maple Leafs, but it just happened to be on the same calendar date that as that video was coming up. Calgary actually made a trade right away, and I mean, I made some trade videos, and I do have some more trade retrospect videos, which I made a new playlist for that. So yeah, I mean, of course, everything. If you like everything I do on my YouTube channel, just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and follow along here. I mean, definitely talk Calgary sports, recapping games, or some recent news like this trade, for example, and I also do Hitman, Roughnecks, Stampeders during the season, game recaps, and any other news there, and personal vlogs, attempted comedy, and anything else that I capture on my smartphone. So just make sure you like, subscribe. That sounds like everything you want to watch. And as I'll say, go Flames go, and I'll see you in the next video here.